All right. Hello. So I am here with Richard. My name is Samuel Watson. Richard has experience with Asplund, where he was a team lead, led crews for Asplund in tree trimming, and then he went on to start his own company in tree trimming, and that has just been great for him. So we're gonna ask a few questions regarding management. So are you ready to go, Richard?
Oh, I sure am.
All right, great. So, first question is, how would you describe your overall management style and how do you adapt it depending on the employee or situation?
My overall management style is, um, basically it's a lot different when it comes to tree work versus a regular corporate environment.
Hmm.
So I'm very, I guess, strict. At the same time, there is an element of freedom for each one of the employees. Um, I have to make sure they're following the rules, but at the same time, there's room for interpretation when it comes to tree work. So I've got to have that happy balance of, making sure that they're following the guidelines as set forth by ANSI and the the International Society of Arboriculture, but
Hmm.
how we get to those results is a little bit more fluid and person to person, and how each style is, especially because we're climber heavy. So we do a lot of climbing, and there's just so many different ways to go about trimming or removing a tree.
Hmm.
I just need them to have all the basic tools and elements. So my management style, I guess, would be very basic, but
Hmm.
the basics have to be adhered to. And then beyond that, it's just approaching them whenever there is an issue in a manner in which I would want to be approached if I was to be in their shoes. So
Hmm.
I've got people that are not so hard on themselves and they're just kind of whatever. And those are the people that I've got to be a little bit more aggressive with. And then I've got people that if they make the tiniest little mistake, they're beating themselves up for 2 days straight. And those are the
Hmm.
kinds of people that I've got to be like, hey, I understand this and this, but I need you to kind of relax on yourself a little bit. Here's what we need to do to adapt and overcome in the future.
Hmm. Okay. So just to summarize, to ensure I understand, you would say your management style needs to be very adaptive due to the environment that you operate in, and almost kind of black and white from a safety perspective, in that you're either being safe or you're not, and so you
Right.
kind of got to go to your basics of management. In that, you're hitting your consistent trainings, and then you're just ensuring your whole team's staying safe as you guys are conducting whatever job, and that's the management style that you adapt to, is kind of whatever's necessary to ensure a safe environment, whether that's free loving and that kind, or very black and white, hard nosed, just whatever's needed to ensure that safety goals achieved.
Right.
Great.
And that's the biggest thing in this industry is safety standard, because it is one of the top three most dangerous jobs in the world at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I hope to be able to change that. But yeah, for right now, it is one of the top three most dangerous jobs in the world. And the safety aspect is it's a very culture based um, program.
Got you. Got you. Okay, so moving on to motivation. So, what motivates your employees most, and what strategies do you use to maintain or improve motivation?
So what motivates my employees the most is the overriding goal that we have as a company, and that is to change the dynamic of the culture in our industry.
Mm-hmm.
We all have a collective mindset of we want to make the industry a better place and make the
Mm-hmm.
world a better place at the same time. And if we can get people to really sink into our style of culture, then our area of tree trimming and tree care will be safer just because of the culture that we have. And it is a very open and fluid culture.
Hmm.
Um, so um, it's it, you have to be allowed to speak and have your opinion heard, whether
Hmm.
right or wrong. We need to be able to articulate, like, okay, I see what you're saying, and that won't work because of this, and this. There is no such thing as a dumb question. The only dumb question that we find dumb is the one that went unasked.
Right.
So definitely want to keep that open chain of communication
Hmm.
and help each member of our staff integrate into the culture that we're trying to achieve. And then once we do that, we are going to be so much better off as an industry.
Gotcha. I didn't know that it was that lethal of an industry. So I can definitely see the need for a cultural shift there. That's big. So on kind of on the line of communication down that route, can you share an example of how you handle conflict with your team, and then what process do you normally follow to resolve conflict?
Well, the beautiful thing about my team is we have a lot of history and we don't really see any conflict. And if there is conflict between two parties, so far it has been fairly simple to just talk about it.
Hmm.
We've got that's the open line of communication that I'm talking about for the cultural shift,
Hmm.
because you can't be safe if you're out here mad at your brother. If
Hmm.
you're out here, and I've got animosity and ill will or ill feelings, now that's going to get in the way of my mentality as I'm going towards my goal of getting this job completed safely.
Gotcha.
So, that's a part of the cultural shift. Is first, if you have a problem with your brother, with the
Hmm.
person that you guys are unified going for a common goal, then you need to be able to talk about it and open up the communication. If I'm communicating well in the trees and on the ground, well, why can I not communicate when it comes to interpersonal relations? So
Hmm.
at this point, I haven't had to step in too awful much. Now, if I do, then I need to go to each party individually, get the best understanding of what happened to engage this animosity,
Hmm.
and you know be, for lack of a better word, the middleman between the guys, and be like, hey, I see your point, I see your side of the story, hey, I see your point, I see your side of the story. This is what, and most conflicts are a misunderstanding or a lack of communication in the first place.
Sure.
So it's really easy for me to help people get over those hurdles if that comes up, which at this point it really hasn't, due
Hmm.
to the open lines of communication when it comes to workflow,
Hmm.
and that helps with interpersonal relations on that side of things too. So, and then if someone is found to be not a good match or fit for my outfit, for my group, we're gonna
Hmm.
we're gonna send them down the road and say, hey, sorry, it's not working out. We appreciate your service, but time to cut ties, and we'll see you later on down the road.
Gotcha. Great. Thank you. So, next question. I'm really curious about this question from a safety perspective. Just because you do live in and work in such a dangerous environment. So the question is what practices do you use to develop your employees' skills? And I'm really curious about like what kind of safety stuff are you doing? How are you ensuring that your team members are trained really well in safety and generating a safe culture and environment?
So that all goes back to the basics. Um, the basics of anything you're doing in this world, um, really makes it to where you get those fundamentals. If you
Mm-hmm.
want to build a skyscraper and a big tower, it all boils down to the foundation and what you've got on the bottom of that skyscraper, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we go back to the basics a lot
Mm-hmm.
and make sure that the basics are um, adhered to, and um, we make sure that if there is a retraining needed, we go
Mm-hmm.
back and retrain it immediately. We don't stop. We don't let it go. We make sure that everybody that is involved is really good at what they're doing. Not just they can do it, not just a grasp of this concept. No, they are proficient, and that takes, telling them about it, showing them how to do it, having them try it out, and then constant follow up. And if the follow up you don't find that it is the way that you believe that it should be, it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter what industry we're talking about. And one thing that you have said, and it is true at this point, is that we are in a dangerous job. I am trying to shift this language to where it's not a dangerous job, it's a hazardous job. And if we
Mm-hmm.
take proper precautions to set ourselves up for success, and you
Mm-hmm.
just follow those basic principles, there's no way that you're going to get injured doing this line of work. So it is a hazardous line of work. It is
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily a dangerous line of work. So, from the way a person handles a chainsaw and understands the mechanics of that chainsaw, that is one of those layers that is very basic, but it can help save your life and
Mm-hmm.
save you from a SIF, or a serious injury or fatality.
Mm-hmm.
So, just just making sure that the very foundational stuff is on point, you can build from there and make little steps and a graded approach. Now later on down the road, this whole thing changes when I get really corporate,
Mm-hmm.
and we have a tiered system. We're going to rock the world with how we're going to do our training system, because I have a background in gymnastics,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm taking the gymnastics training principles and I'm going to apply them to tree work. So we're going to have levels, we're going to have a rotation to where you go see this guy, and this guy is really good at these things. And then you're going to go see this guy, and this guy is really good at these things, and just keep it simple and make it to where it flows the right way from one step to the next, and build a really solid employee that you can stick him out in the field and he's not going to mess up on one thing, because we have done our due diligence of making sure he's proficient, he understands the rules, he understands the what's and the whys. Because if you don't give me on a personal level the what and the why, I'm not going to
Mm-hmm.
do it. If you just
Okay.
give me the what and say, oh, because I said so, that ain't good enough, and I'm
Gotcha.
going to do what I want. But
Gotcha.
if you tell me I said so because of this and this, well, I'm all ears, and if it makes sense and checks out, we'll be all right, and we'll advance from there. So it's very basics based
Mm-hmm.
and tiered system.
Understood. Understood. Well, all right, Richard, that is all the time we have. I can't thank you enough for taking the time to talk with us. And do you have any parting bits of wisdom or advice for us before we go?
Um, Only thing I have is take care of your people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, create a positive impact on each individual you come in contact with throughout the day. And it doesn't matter what industry you're in, as long as we figure these basics out and make a good training program, because it honestly begins and ends with training.
Right.
And you make a really solid game plan that is duplicatable, then you can build the biggest skyscraper in the world. So that's
Understood.
what I'm setting out to do with this little company, and it's just going to grow and get better. So keep
All right.
advancing and never stop learning.
All right, Richard. Thank you.